Hello everyone! Today we are going to talk about adjustment, effect and finishing a digital painting in Clip Studio. We will break it down into three parts. 1. Brief introduction. 2. Tool and command for today's video. 3. Demonstration.
この動画はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。
Let's begin with part 1. Adjustment, effect, and finishing a detail painting can make your art complete, more attractive and interesting. Sometimes it can be challenging making an adjustment while painting, so doing it when the painting has been partly finished is easier. Here are the advantages. 1. Your art is improved. Most of the time, people finish painting and that's it. But you can improve your art even more if you change a bit of this and that. 2. Learn new tricks. Adjustment color and effect may produce different results, other than your usual works. Now you have new tricks to use in your future works. 3. Learn how to plan and process for a faster work if you know what you want and what needs to be done.
Next, we are going to get familiar with the tools and commands for today's video. Filter we will apply on layers is like applying the effects. Blur and sharpen are the most widely used. If you want to know what it's going to look like and how to make the settings, we recommend trying it out yourself.
For the next part, to adjust the color, it can be done two ways. Using Tonal collection under the Edit on the menu bar and collection layer in the layer category. Let's start with Tonal collection first. Tonal collection will adjust the color on the current selected layer. The colors of the layer will change when you adjust then apply it. You can use the selection tool to adjust the color on your design area. The downside of this method is that its adjustment is quite limited. But this method is sometimes necessary when you need to change the colors of as the filters along the process of your work. Now, let's get to know the option in tonal correction. Saturation, luminosity, polarization, reverse gradient, level correction, tone curve, colors balance, binarization, gradient map. Collection layer is similar to tonal correction, but it is a layer. The colors of the layer below the collection layer will be adjusted according to the type you choose. You can also arrange them into folders and apply layer mask. The benefit is this can be flexibly adjusted. You can adjust the opacity. You can also change layer bedding mode to get different results.
Layer blending mode. When you paint in normal mode, reach a default setting. It will result in normal coloring. And what about other modes? They will blend color of current layer and layer below them in different way. Let's see. Layer blending mode can be divided into 4 groups. Number 1. Make the image and color darker. No matter what color you use, it will always be a darker color. Number 2. Make the image brighter. No matter what color you use, it will always make the image brighter. Number 3. Make the image both brighter and darker. If you use light color, it will make the image brighter. If you use dark color, it will make the image darker. Number 4. Other effects. Effects of the layer differ depending on the mode. The modes will be divided as shown on the screen. Some modes will be used quite often like hue and color. Their effects will change color after you paint it. You have to decide first if you want the layer darker or brighter or both. For example, if you want it to be brighter, select the mode in the brighter group. Then try other modes to get the desired result. And complete your work. Layer marks. It will specifically show some part of the layer. Instead of erasing directly onto the layer, use the layer marks to easier edit the image without worrying about the boundary. You can also select the specific part to be visible as well.
Decoration brush and image materials. They can be used as effect on the image. You don't need to paint it all yourself. These tools can help you save a lot of time and come with wonderful results. And you can download more of them in Clip Studio Asset. Before you show you the how-to, we want you to keep this in mind. 1. Set your goal. Which direction you want your work to go. Make it brighter, sharper, clearer atmosphere, etc. 1.1. If you can make up your mind, let's try until you find the method you like. 2. Try adjusting the raw image, and then focus the smaller details. 3. Don't add too many effects, it may ruin your work. 4. Be decisive. In the end, you need to decide whether it is done or it needs more improvement. Demo 1. Goal. Add more contrast. Add more depth. Make character easier to focus. Add an atmosphere. After finished painting, put the layers into the folder so you won't get confused. To make the background look far away, create a new layer and set its mode as green. Use bright color and airbrush tool to paint the parts that are far away. Create another layer and set its mode as soft light to emphasize the contrast and the gradients. Use dark color on the front part and use bright colors on the parts you want to lighten. Adjust the opacity as needed. Since we want to adjust the color range of the sea, create a new layer and use Clip to Layer below to determine the area to paint. Set the purple layer mode and use airbrush to paint. To emphasize the length of the beach, use darker color around the front area to add more depth. Use collection layer to help adjusting the color, then adjust its opacity as needed. To emphasize the character, click a new layer and use Clip to Layer below on the character's layers. Apply soft light mode for easy brightness adjustment. Use airbrush to make gradient and add more weight to the color. Apply screen mode and use orange to paint on the border between light and shadow to make it look like the sunlight has spread to the shadows. Looking at the overall picture, I think the color of the background is too vibrant. So, I use the correction layer to reduce the saturation of the lower part of the character. Use the clipping mask to determine the area that will be adjusted and delete the unwanted part that you won't want to change. There's a green part that gets over to the beach, so I deleted it. Click a new layer above and set its mode to screen. Use blue color on the bright part to make the impression of the sky on the objects. Then, use purple color on the shadows. Use orange color to paint the bright parts that connect with the shadows to emphasize the impression of the sunlight. Click another layer and set it to multiply. Then paint around the edge of the image to make it easier to focus on the center of the image. Click a new layer and set it to screen. Use the ready-made brushes to create sparkles. Use spray to create particles to make the image more interesting. Adjust the opacity as needed. Be careful not to overpower the entire image. Then, merge visible to new layer to make the overall image softer. Select tone curve and adjust the color. I want the bright area to be more orange-ish, so I adjust the color one by one and make it less blue. Then apply Gaussian blur and set to screen mode. Then adjust the opacity. But the overall looks too bright. So, to balance it, I use the correction layer to dim the light. Then adjust the opacity as needed. Since I want to keep the original atmosphere, I won't adjust the color too much.
Demo 2. Gold. Add more depth. Add more light gold. Add more color variation. Make character easier to focus. Add an atmosphere. Add the lines and gradients on the background to distinguish it from the character by using skin mode and the airbrush. To underline the lights and shadow, apply soft light mode on the character layer. Paint the area under the lights with orange using the airbrush. For the shadow, use purple to make it bolder. For the building in the back, apply soft light mode to distinguish them from the character. Use skin mode and paint around the window and the lamp, with orange using the airbrush to make it feel brighter and glowing. Use the same technique with the character on the area that light reflects. To imitate the color lights, create a new layer behind the character with screen mode and use the special bar to add the effects. Download link in the description. Then create another layer above and use the bigger brush to paint the effect in the font. Make a new layer with skin mode and paint different color with the airbrush to create more atmosphere. Create a new layer in soft light mode to make it bold and the character pop out with a bit of blue. To make the skin color stand out, create a new layer with screen mode and gently add red on the skin with the airbrush. Create a multiple layer and paint a bit more to make the character bolder again. Then add the bicolor along the background to differentiate from the character. To adjust overall atmosphere, use correction layer and create gradient map. Select the purple somber shade and adjust the color. Then adjust the opacity as needed. Use tone curve to control the overall image. Add some blue light from above. The cool tone will make the character more distinct. Use more visible to new layer to make the overall image glow. Use tone curve. This time tone the red down and add small blue to make the overall image look colder. Then adjust the opacity of each part as you want.
Our goal is add more volume, overall easier to focus. Add more effects, add some dramatic feeling. To add more depth on the character, use multiple layer mode. Then use airbrush to create gradient and make it smoother. And use soft light mode layer for the gradients on the black area. To make the character stand out, create soft light mode layer and apply dark color behind the character. Also decrease the layer's brightness. Create a new layer and set it as screen mode. Use airbrush to paint around the character with light color. The character will be applied in the bath in light. And to add more atmosphere, create an overlay mode layer and apply blue on the black part of the character. Meanwhile, adjust the shadow as you want. To make some glow on the highlight, use screen mode layer and airbrush to stress on that part. To add flare, create an add layer mode which is brighter than screen mode. Apply very bright color using airbrush. Then use whitish color to stress on the bright area. Use sand mode layer to create gradient with airbrush to add the bright light atmosphere. I want to make the character grow, so I adjust the opacity in some part of the character. Use correction color to add contrast to the overall image. Create gradient map and adjust the color to keep the atmosphere right. But it made the image look dull. So I set the mode to soft light to go along with the original color tone. Found out that the contrast from soft light mode is enough, so I delete the tone curve. Use effect brush to add particle. To make the overall image softer, use Merge Visible to new layer and apply gradient blur, then decrease the opacity. The blur around the edge of the image and focus on the character's face. Apply layer masks and delete the part around middle that doesn't need to be blurred. Finally, to stress the highlight in the image, create a screen layer mode and stress the highlight with airbrush and create some gradients around to make the light reflection. Then check every layer and adjust as needed.
You will see that in all three methods, we only use the simple tools like the airbrush and the ready mix pack that you can download from Keep Studio Access to add the effect, and use a few collection options. We can make the image much better.
So finishing your work will determine the goals or what kind of result you want to use the purple layer mode and choose. Choosing color and layer mode will depend on the work, but personally, I always use this. Number 1. Screen mode layer. Mostly use vivid or bright colors, but not every time. It depends on the atmosphere you want. Number 2. Multiply more layers. Try not to use the colors that are too bright. Refer from the original colors and use the processed colors. Number 3. Soft light mode layer. Use this to control and add colors and the weight of the image. Mostly used to create atmospheric color or add more colors. Number 4. Tone curve. Used to adjust the overall weight on the image.
Most importantly, you need to understand what the tools and the command are for, or what would happen if you do this. The more we practice, the more we understand them, and we can make the most of them. Hope these techniques are useful for everyone in creating your works in the future. See you next time. Bye bye. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you very much.